Rhubarb, grumble, mumble, grumble. Will,
Yeah?
are you not ready to shoot the next part of our coding video?
We're not ready until you've done the flowchart and the backlog.
Flowchart and the backlog?
Go, get on it.
Yes, sir.
So what's a flowchart, eh? Well, I think this is quite a good chart of people called Florence. It's an excellent flowchart.
What are you doing?
Oh, I'm just looking for the backlog. You said we had to do a backlog for our coding project. Is this not the log at the back of the garden?
No.
Oh.
Different kind.
Welcome back. So, in our first episode of our quest to create virtual life on the Commodore VIC 20 emulator, we basically introduced you, Winter Will, to the very, very basics of coding on the VIC. So, in this episode, what you and I need to do is really roll up our sleeves and first of all think about how we're going to design our virtual life, and then how we're actually going to build it in Commodore BASIC. Does that sound good to you? Well, fortunately, we've pre-recorded that, and this is days later. So let's just jump back in time and look at that now.
Let's go.
Okay, so tell us, Will, what you're planning to build on the VIC 20 BASIC.
I'm gonna do a bee simulator.
Bee simulator. Interesting stuff. Very good. So, tell us, what is your bee simulator going to involve?
So the bee has to go get a pollen from a flower,
Okay.
and he has to go out, get the pollen, and then he comes back. And if he gets back with the pollen, he gets a point. But there's a bear who tries to stop him from getting back.
Okay. So we're trying to create a virtual life form. A bee.
A bee.
A bee.
And it's called
Better Be Ready.
Better Be Ready.
Okay, that's the name of your bee simulator. Okay, so what I like to do before we start programming is break down the list of jobs that we need to do into small chunks. And then we will find that every time we come back and do a new episode, we can have a go at doing one of the chunks. So have a think for a second about your bee simulator. What's the first job we need the computer to do for us for your bee simulator? And let's write it into our backlog for Better Be Ready.
We need the characters.
We need the characters. What do you mean by the characters?
We need the bee character. We need like the pictures. We need the bee character, the bear character, and and a flower character.
Okay, let's add that to the backlog.
I'm just gonna
Yeah, I wish you would.
add the icons.
Okay, fine. Now, we'll talk about that in a minute when we come back to it, but there's a few bits we need to do to make the VIC 20 draw special characters that look like a bee
And a
flower.
bear.
Yeah, exactly. So we can talk about that in a second. And fortunately, PRG Studio makes it easy for us to do. And we've already had a little crack at it off screen, haven't we?
Yep.
So add the icons. What else is your bee sim going to need to do?
Record the points.
Record the points, yeah. Add that to your backlog. Record points. Yeah.
Pollen points.
Pollen points. Any thoughts on how we might do that?
It keeps track of how many times the bee's gone from one place to another.
So we're going to need variable to hold that, aren't we? So that's fine. You don't need to go to that level of detail, but we're going to need a variable for that. Probably a number to count how many pollen points he's got. What else are we going to need it to do? So what's the first thing it's going to do when you run the program?
It's gonna.
What's the first thing it needs to do?
have the bee moving.
But before that, even before that,
Oh, put the stuff on the screen.
draw the world.
Draw.
Yeah. Draw the world. That's it. Okay, what else is it going to do? So the world draws. Imagine that. The world's drawn. What happens next in your program?
The bee goes out.
Move the bee.
Move.
Okay. Now where does the bee go? How do we know which direction to go in?
Bee. Wait. Then it goes to the nearest flower.
Okay, and how's he going to find the flowers?
Smell it.
It's going to sniff.
It's gonna.
Okay, so we're going to need to code that.
Bee sniff.
Yep. Okay, so I think the first part of the backlog we should tackle is drawing the world and adding the icon. So we'll try and do these two.
Draw the world and add the icons.
Yeah, we'll try and do these two.
Well, we have some icons already.
We do. So let's go back to PRG Studio, and we were off screen doing a little bit of playing around. So in PRG Studio, we're lucky because it makes life very easy for us, and we can create new characters. We can redefine the character sets that exist within the VIC's internal memory. So if you double click that there, that takes us into the character editor, and you can get into there from the tools menu as well. And what you'll notice is that Will's already, to save time, one he's prepared earlier, he's created the bee. That's his bee character, which is character index number 65. Now we'll see why that's important later. And then we've got character number 81,
Which is the bear.
which is the bear.
And we got the character number 88, which is the flowers.
Right, now I think we ought to make a note of those, otherwise we're going to have to keep.
So where should I put it in?
So put it in OneNote. So scratch pad. So we got 65
5
equals
equals B.
B. 81.
81 equals
Yeah.
8.
Okay. Noted down. Right, so. Okay, let's do a flowchart, I think, to design. So before we do any coding, we should really do some design. And we've just gone into Smart Draw here, which is a free tool we found in the cloud.
Yeah.
So, draw the world. Have a think about it and break it down into steps in your mind. What do we need to get the computer to do to draw your world?
I need to put the lines as the border.
It will do that for you.
Oh.
You don't need to worry about that.
And it needs to put the hive.
So we need to draw.
The hive.
We need to draw all the icons, don't
Yeah, it needs to put down the flowers and the bee and the bear.
we? Okay. So the first step, let's say, is going to be draw the hive.
So
Yeah. And where do you want the hive to be?
on this side of the screen.
On the left hand side.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So let's start with the first block. There we go.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so draw the. I'm going to put the text in. Just type here. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Draw
Draw.
the hive.
Whereabouts?
Left side.
Yeah. Okay.
Left
Draw. Okay, let's get into PRG editor. Here we are. Okay, so we've added a basic file to the project called main.bas. There's nothing in there yet. I like to keep all my different code files for doing different parts of the program in separate files. So if we're going to have all the code for drawing the world in one file, so let's add a new file. So we right click, add new file, and let's call that
Draw world.
Draw world. Okay, good stuff. Right, so remember we have to start with line 10.
Oh yeah. 10.
Oh, you started with one. So what's the first step on our flowchart?
Draw hive.
Draw the hive. Okay. So we haven't got a character for the hive, have we?
No, but it could be. I don't know. What should it be?
Well, fortunately, I have a useful page here in the OneNote open. Here, the character sets. So the hive could be.
It could be like the lines, or it could be the squares because they have the
Yeah, pick one.
I think 94.
94. Okay, so let's add that to our OneNote. Now, scratchpad. 94 is the hive.
94.
And you'll see why these characters, these numbers, become important in a sec. So let's go back to the PRG. So, number 10. Okay, so I always like to start with a comment.
Okay, so how do you put comments?
You put REM, which stands for remark.
REM.
Yeah, and then what's this? You know, this is the code to draw the world.
Draw.
Just draw the world.
Draw.
Whatever. Yeah.
No.
Just so that when someone comes along and they're reading your program later,
Yeah,
they'll know. Okay.
So then, how do I stop?
Stop.
Noting it.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Anything after the rem command, it will ignore. So press return, and we should get line 20. It automatically numbers the lines for you. Okay, so we want to draw the hive. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because let me explain about the VIX screen and how we draw on it. Now, we could use print commands to do this, but it would get very complicated very quickly. So instead, what the wonderful people at Commodore gave us was a screen RAM. Now, RAM stands for, do you remember? Random access memory.
Oh, yeah.
So it's part of the VIX memory, and this is a map of it basically. So the screen is made up of 21 columns by 23, is it? 23 rows?
I think so.
And each cell on the screen represents a character, a place we can draw a character. So if we want to draw here,
The hive.
the hive,
So it will be that whole row.
we will have to specify the row and column,
So
basically.
it'll be row.
And
Okay.
each cell has an address in the memory. So it just so happens that we're using the first column in the last row of the screen, if that's where you want to put your hive. And can you see the number that's written next to it?
8164.
Yeah. Now, if we use a special command called the poke command, exactly, what that will do is poke that number into that box within the VIX memory. So if you poke, what was the hive character number?
94.
Yeah. If you poke 94 into memory location 8164, it will draw you. Hi everybody. It will draw you.
So poke.
Yeah. Poke.
94. Wait,
Yeah. 8164.
Oh yeah, 8.
164, and you have to put a comma,
Comma.
and then 64. 94.
94.
Right. That will draw you
No,
your character for
but-
your hive
What if
at the bottom left corner of the screen.
What if I wanted? If I wanted it over here.
You just have to choose.
0. So it'd be 0.
No,
That
it will be
way.
7680.
Okay.
So let me explain how this screen RAM map works. So 7680 is there. 7681 is there. 7682 is there. Yeah. So you just have to
Okay.
understand that each cell has got a unique number, which points to a memory location that you can poke to.
So it wouldn't be 8164. It'd be 87680 if I wanted it to
If you
be
top
down.
left, top left is 7680. Now what I would do, I think, is probably set up a variable to hold the location of the hive, and then you can change it later if you want to. You might later decide that you want to put the hive somewhere else. Yeah. So this will give us a chance to practice creating a number variable. So if you just delete your poke command for a second, let's set up a variable. It was fine being line 20.
Oh, good.
To set up a variable, all we need to do is basically give it a value. Now, you can use a keyword called let. You can type let space, then the name of your variable. So remember, there can only be 2 characters.
Hi.
Yeah.
Or HV.
HV, and then you put in the equals to assign it, and then
94.
no, that's the character.
Oh, you have to put it 7
6
8 0.
Yeah. Okay. Then do a return. Then we can have another variable, which is the character for your beehive, which is your 94.
So do that again.
Yeah. So let's call it BH equal 94. Right. Press return. Now then, whenever we need to refer to the hive location or the beehive character, we can use those variables instead. Okay, so number 40 is going to be your poke command to actually draw it. Poke. What do we do?
94. No, 7 6.
No, we use your variable name.
Oh, HV.
Yeah, HV, comma BH. Yeah. Okay. So that code is going to basically draw your hive in an orange colour. We hope.
Well, definitely need that one still.
Yeah. But at the moment it won't do anything because our main program hasn't got any code in it.
Yeah.
So double click on main.bas. And let's have in here we'll have our main driver code. We made a schoolboy error because our line numbers need changing. Let's just quickly do that. Let's start this at 100 because our main program is going to start at 10.
Oh, 100.
Yeah. Fortunately, we can renumber. So start at 100 and increment 10. There
100,
we go.
100, 10, 100.
Yeah. So let's go back to here. So line 10. Okay. Let's call this. Let's put a rem in. Rem.
Add diver.
Better be ready. This is the better be ready main code. Be ready. Yeah. Line 20 is going to be go sub, which means run the subroutine.
Go sub.
It's all one word.
Oh.
Yeah. Go sub. And can you remember the first line of our subroutine? What did I start it at?
100.
100. Correct.
So
So go sub 100. Space 100. Okay. That's it.
Okay.
Now we need to complete. I think we're ready to run. Let's see what happens.
You
Build. Yeah, save all. Always save all. Build.
Build.
It's done it. Yeah. Build.
Build.
Project. And run. That's it. Build it. And run.
Yeah!
One beehive.
And we need to go all the way down.
So let's take a quick mid-coding nostalgia break. And one of the games that really inspired me to get into coding was the one on the screen behind me here, which was Elite, which a friend of mine and I played for hours on end on the Spectrum 48K that he owned. And we found it incredibly frustrating. I've watched some long play videos from other retro channels and yeah, I share your frustration. But one of the things that really inspired me, you can probably see on the screen there, a ship about to be destroyed. That's a Python. I know you can't really make it out very well. This is actually a screen grab from one of Perry Fractic's videos. I hope he doesn't mind. But yeah, he did a long play video. Check that out. It was awesome. Playing Elite all the way through because he'd never played it as a kid, which is incredible. But yeah, that was a Python, which was the ship that I thought was the coolest ship in the whole of Elite. And yeah, I think it looked like a Star Destroyer with a rounded end, and that's why I liked it. Anyway, that inspired me to try and create a game which was kind of part text adventure. And using the Petsky characters on the VIC-20 keyboard, what I did was actually, draw a Python. I remember doing that vividly when I was probably younger than Winterwheel, probably about 10 or 11. So yeah, that was a little nostalgia break of, just describing what inspired me to get into coding when I was younger, because we had these incredible machines like the VIC-20, and I just wish I had the brains at the time to really code in the way that I can now. It took me a long time to get my head around how to code properly, and I had to work in industry. I've worked in the industry for 30 years, and you're still learning every day. So it's a great journey to get on, youngsters. If you're out there watching and you're inspired by this, grab yourself an emulator and get coding. Right, okay, so you like? So now what's the next step on our flowchart?
Draw flowers. Random amount of flowers, 5 to 10.
5 to 10. Okay, I feel another subroutine coming on. So let's start at line.
Are we supposed to have it on? Oh yeah, we are.
Let's start at line 200.
I change it.
Yeah, so change that to 200, and it'll just start manually. And then do rem.
Draw the flowers.
Cool. Yeah. Right. So we need a random number of flowers between 5 and 10. If you want random numbers from 1 to 6 for a dice, you'd use this. So generate a random 0.195996, times that by 6, and then add 1 to it, and you use this int command, which turns it into a whole number. So we do RND0 times 9, and then we have to turn it into a whole number. So we have to put the int command at the front.
So print.
No, just int, which stands for integer, which is a whole number. If we then do print nf, just to test this, we'll see what we get. Now, this won't draw any flowers yet.
Oh.
Because we're just testing to see what number we get back. Go sub. Go sub. 200. So we got a 1.
1. And then if you keep doing it again, it will do an... Wait, no, it can't be 1 because it's 5 to 10.
1.
It needs
7.
to be 5 to 10, not 1 to 10, isn't it?
5 to 10.
Because we said a random number of flowers from 5 to 10.
Oh, okay. So what we'll have to do then, there's a bit of logic here. So we'll have to say, to do an if. So if nf is less than, that's greater than. The other way.
Oh.
It's less than 5. We now have our, oops, we didn't have to do that yet. So we now have our code to generate the number of flowers.
Yeah.
So now, what we want to do,
7.
we run it again. Run 8.
Run.
So
We need to do
the total number of cells we've got is 505. Now we've already drawn the first one, so we've got 504.
No, we need to get rid of that first line because that's where the whole hive is going to go.
Correct. Oh, okay.
The bee goes do do do.
Okay. So our screen start is 7702.
7702.
Which is there. Okay. So what we want is to generate another random number. So we're going to need to do a loop here.
Loop.
And with a loop, to do a loop, we use. I don't know if you did it in Small Basic. Did you do 4 next loops?
Yeah, I think so.
4 next loops. So you use the for command. So you type for.
For loop.
Yeah,
No.
4, and then another variable name. So each time you go around, the value in this variable will go up by 1. Each time you go around the loop. So Yeah. Okay. So for RO equals, okay, 1. And how many flowers do we want to be drawn? NF. 1, 2, NF. Okay, so that's telling the machine to do a loop, basically 1 to NF times. So if we generate 7, it will do 7 times around the loop.
We need our picture though.
Yeah. So we've got to do our
Poke.
generate a random number for the location to draw
Our
our
picture.
flower. So we need another RND statement. So should we call this one FP? So let FP for flower position, we'll call it. Let FP equal. Yeah. And we've got to do the int thing again, haven't we, to make it a whole number. Yeah. That's it. And then RND. Yeah. Brackets 0.
0.
Yeah. Times by.
Do I need to close them like that?
That's it. Times by 505. 505. Yeah, that should give us a random number between 0 and 505.
Now we need to get it to put our flower.
So we need to poke. Yeah, so we do poke.
FP and RO.
So we need to do, basically we need to do 7680 plus FP. With our character for our flower, which was
88.
comma 88. Comma 88. That's it. And then we need to tell it to go back around the loop. So we do a new line and we do next RO. So the first time round, RO will be 1 and we do.
Does that have to be RO?
No.
Okay.
So we do, then we generate our random number, position on the screen to draw our flower, and then we poke the character into that screen round position and it will draw it. But we've got to sort out the colour. What colour of the flower is going to be?
Pink. Is there a
Okay.
pink one?
There is magenta, I think, isn't there? Scroll up, that's it. There we go.
Purple. 4.
Purple?
Yeah.
4. Yep. So, let's try that.
Build.
Project. And run.
Oh,
Whee!
look at them!
There you go. There are your flowers.
That's my flowers.
Yeah. Now, when we finish this, we won't have the word ready on the screen. And I will do some tidying up.
Like that.
I will do some tidying up of the code and explain to you what I've done and why I've done it. And I'll explain that to you in the next episode. But for now, if we go back to our backlog in Microsoft To Do,
Oh yeah, we can tick them off.
we can tick a couple of things off.
We can tick that off
Yep,
and also that off.
correct. How did you enjoy your first
That was very positive.
lesson in Commodore 1983 VIC-20 Basic?
That was very positive. I am going to make a B game.
Excellent. I'm glad to see you're excited. Well, thank you for watching, everyone. And we will see you in the next episode where we will tackle the next part of our backlog. Bye for now.
Bye.
A quick word before we go on why we do these videos. We do these videos to inspire youngsters to do cool stuff like this behind me. This is a SpaceX orbital booster. That's going to have a 120 foot tall Starship perched on the top of it. If you haven't seen one of those, check them out on YouTube. Credit to NASA Spaceflight for this cool still image and Boca Chica gal. But yeah, this is the most incredible rocket, more powerful than the rocket that sent men to the moon in the 60s. It's incredible. And this is why I want to inspire youngsters to get into science and technology through great things like coding is a great start. That's where Elon started after all. So if you're interested in that and you'd like to get into some cool sci-fi, the way you can support our channel, we're only tiny, we really would appreciate your like and subscribe, but also visit www.winterfam.co.uk. I'll put the link down below. And then sign up for a free short story. You would really be doing us a favour and helping us produce more videos like this one. If you've enjoyed it, then do give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you next time for part 3 of our epic coding adventure to create virtual life on a Commodore VIC 20. Bye for now.